Well, folks, here we are again for the weekly forecast. Before we get to the main forecast, let's take a retrospective look at this past couple of weeks. And since I've been on vacation, I think this is appropriate. We essentially have seen a roller coaster in terms of temperatures. Started out cool during the first part of this past 2 weeks, and then we started to gradually warm up and dry out. And of course, that's been helping and assist us in terms of planting progress. We were really slow here all the way through the first week of May, and then we've seen a rapid increase. And in fact, as of Sunday, this past Sunday, 48% of the corn was estimated to be planted. My assumption is, based on the very warm temperatures we had early in the week and everybody out in the fields, that we'll probably see our corn planting move up into the 80+ range, and wouldn't be surprised if we even approach the 90+ range. As you go to the east of us, of course, they've had a little bit more problems in terms of the excessive moisture, and so we are a little bit ahead of our counterparts to the east. But with this precipitation event coming in this weekend, it looks like it'll probably bring a halt to planting intentions, at least for the northern half of the state, for several days, if not into the middle of next week, before we start to see a drying trend develop. So let's take a look at the upper models and see what we can expect as we go through this next 7-day period. And the first thing I'll draw your attention to is we do have a trough working into the western United States. It's going to start ejecting energy out into our region, and it's very possible that this afternoon we will start to see thunderstorm development in western Nebraska and moving into central Nebraska, and this could be the first widespread thunderstorm and severe weather outbreak for Nebraska this year. And that system will start to move that energy up toward the north. And as it congeals in in central Nebraska, it's very possible during the overnight hours it may roll across eastern Nebraska and give us more widespread precipitation, but not as much of the severe weather we'd be expecting across western Nebraska. But certainly as we go into tomorrow, we would actually see this trough starting to dig even farther into the central and northern plains regions, and that will put eastern Nebraska under the gun Sunday afternoon, and would not be surprised from Grand Island eastward we'll start to see severe weather develop, and then that will progress eastward during the overnight hours and start to impact the central and eastern corn belt as we get into Sunday. Behind it, we'll start to see some cooler air filtering in, so these temperatures that we've been seeing in the 90s are probably going to be at bay for a few days at least, until we start to see the ridge building in from the west. By the time we get to Monday, the system starts to move its way up into the northern plains. We should see some lingering rainfall across portions of northern Nebraska, northeastern Nebraska, and the precipitation should come to an end in eastern Nebraska sometime by the noon hour. As we get into Tuesday, that system will start to progress toward the western Great Lakes. We'll start to see a slight northwest flow at the surface, and that'll bring in slightly cooler and drier air into our region, so we were looking at fairly benign conditions on Tuesday, and that will continue on into the day Wednesday as we have the ridge in place. It's only going to be short-lived as we have another trough starting to build into the western United States, and by the time we get to Thursday, it'll start to dig into the western United States, and we'll start to see moisture returning into our region along with the temperatures. We should start to see our temperatures moving back to above normal by the time we get into Thursday, and we actually might see some 90-degree weather once again developing across southwestern Nebraska, with a chance for some isolated thunderstorm activity during the prime eating hours of the day. And by Friday, here's that ridge starting to build even farther north, so much warmer air and juicy air coming from the Gulf of Mexico, and here's this trough moving out from the western United States. So it's very possible we get into late next week and we will once again be dealing with a severe weather outbreak across the central plains. Now, if we look at the temperature forecast going forward, we'll notice that the warmest temperature will be this weekend, and we'll be dealing with off and on thunderstorm activity, particularly heaviest across western Nebraska on Saturday, moving into eastern Nebraska on Sunday, and then ending sometime during the day on Monday. Cool conditions during the middle part of next week, and then increasing chances of thunderstorm activity as we get late into next week. In terms of the 8 to 14 day forecast, we are looking for the above normal temperature to behold as that ridge builds in advance of the trough from the west. In terms of precipitation, it does show drier than normal conditions, but I think this is underplayed. Now, for the forecast for the month of June in terms of temperatures, you'll notice that most of the western United States is being projected to be above normal in terms of temperatures. Unfortunately, in terms of precipitation, below normal precipitation from Texas all the way up through the western half of Nebraska.